The modeling industry has lots of secrets, including some that I completely forgot about until recently, when I was scrolling through TikTok and found this model revealing a secret from the industry. How she, a runway model, actually uses a fat suit for plus-size photo shoots. Now, the modeling industry has a lot to hide. I was in the modeling industry and I created some distance because I didn't realize that I was in a really negative place emotionally. And sometimes when you're knee-deep into something, you don't really see what's going on around you. But there were times that I was even cast as a pregnancy model, and I've never been pregnant, nor have I tried to get pregnant. But we're gonna talk about that because I was having babble issues that a manager was literally like, oh, you could pass as like a pregnant person. Let's just send you over that way. While scrolling through the TikTok, this model by the handle CoolQuinn exposed what the industry makes her do and the fat suit that she uses to be a plus-size model.
I'm gonna reveal a secret from the model industry today. So I'm a plus-size model, which means that I sometimes work for plus-size brands. These brands typically carry size 44 and up. If you have eyes, you can see that I'm not that size.
Before she shares with us her fat suit, let's talk about why she and that body type is considered plus size. In the modeling industry, it's not even about your size all the time, but it's about your proportions. There are some models who don't get work because their waist is too thin as compared to their shoulders. And depending on if you're doing fit versus runway modeling, there are actually many different standards. And a lot of people who don't work in the industry don't realize that. But if you're a fit model, you're supposed to actually fit clothing. Whereas runway models, the derogatory term that's kind of spoken behind the scenes is that you're a glorified hanger. Everyone's supposed to look the same, you know, these adolescent bodies, which is really scary to say out loud, but these adolescent bodies that walk down the runway, everyone has the same hair and makeup because the model is not supposed to stand out. The clothing is. And when you have everyone who looks uniform or the same, that's how you put the focus on the clothing instead of the person. Now, there are also other types of models, such as catalog models, such as commercial models, and yes, plus-size models or petite models are two subtypes that can fit into all of those categories. And we normally see petite or plus size in things such as commercial or things such as catalog, but in order to be considered plus size, it's really anything over a 34. As of 2021, the standard model waist is supposed to be 29 to 34 inches, and anything above that is considered plus size. But when you actually look at the standard American population and measurements of the average American girl, her waist is on average 38.7 inches. Now, when we talk about average weight, we are talking about statistics, right? So what is the average of a population? And of course, there are outliers. But why is it that the average model has such a different standard than what the average American woman that they are selling to has? It really does perpetuate this image of idealistic beauty, or we always see celebrities who are this size, and if you buy this clothing, you'll look this good. Now, there are some arguments that say that the camera adds 10 pounds to a person's figure. That really depends on the lens and how it's angled. Depending on the lens, depending on your f-stop, you can actually distort images. But it's no secret that the modeling industry has come under fire for talent abuse, wage abuse, other atrocities. It's been credited to triggering or perpetuating eating disorders, among other unhealthy and bad habits. And it's hard to talk about, and there's a lot of people who want to defend it, and a lot of money that goes behind defending it. But I think it is important, especially as with social media, we are able to compare ourselves to anyone in the world, any model in a magazine, not just the people who are next to us or the people we went to school with. And for our own mental health, I think it's important to understand that just because we see something in a magazine or on TV doesn't mean that it's ideal, doesn't mean it needs to be the thing that we strive to be, and it doesn't mean that it's healthy either. The flat tummy fallacy is actually a huge lie that we're told. Flat tummies aren't necessarily healthy ones, but that's another video.
So how do we fix this? Well, I have to bring something called padding to work, which basically is fat suit in pieces. So you just stuff it under like this, which makes you look a lot bigger. And if that isn't enough, you just pin everything in the back. So if the clothes looks really good from the front, it probably looks like shit from the back.
Yes, almost always, the back looks horrible. If you've ever seen a model from the back, if it's not runway, again, runway is an exception. And that's also why runway models have such strict standards on their measurements, because if you're walking, you can be seen in 3D and you can't, afford to have a pin showing. But if you ever look behind a model at a photo shoot, they usually purchase larger items and that stylist will pin them. Clothing pins for jackets and jeans, bobby pins for hair, shoe inserts to make an already tall 6'1" model look even taller. I'm 6 feet tall and I have had to wear heel extenders on certain photo shoots because I just wasn't tall enough or I just wasn't good enough. Like, whatever. The industry is always going to find a way to make us feel insecure about ourselves, whether it's the actual models who are doing the work or whether it's anyone who's looking at those images that are heavily manipulated even after they're shot. And the reason why is because if we didn't have insecurities as a society, we wouldn't have to buy our way to happiness, right? And I'm sorry, America doesn't run on Dunkin'. America runs on capitalism. And there's arguments for and against capitalism, right? But it's no lie that if we were able to eradicate our insecurities, the beauty and fashion industries at large would not be doing as well as they are today. And when it comes to this model exposing how, she's plus size with her fat suit and how this clothing is pinned on her, it's crazy to think that this would happen. Why wouldn't they just hire a plus size model? Why, when my body looked like this, why did they cast me as a pregnancy model when I was having IBS, stomach bloating, and digestive issues? I have my own story to tell, but as according to this model, her experience has been all because of the neck and the face.
It's because they want the neck and the face to look really slim and sharp, which doesn't just create unrealistic standards, but impossible ones.
It is so true. Now, consumers in the industry are demanding to see plus-sized mannequins, plus-sized models. I want to see what this clothing is going to look like on me if I'm going to buy it, right? But even then, the industry is saying, no, an overweight girl, her face is too chubby or her neck is too chubby. That's not good enough. So we're going to take someone who's not a plus-size model. We're going to make their body plus-size to, appease the consumer demand. And we're always going to put the plus-size girl to the side or in the back, right? Along with other minorities of religion or skin color, okay? Then we're gonna put the traditional skinny model with Caucasian skin at the very front, and look, we're gonna say we have diversity, but even that plus size model at the back, well, we want her to have a thin neck and a thin face. We don't want her to have any padding over here, which again, is natural and a part of normal anatomy. But no, can't have that. So let's just hire one of the traditional looking models, put her in a fat suit, and it's basically just like taking the head of one and shoving it on the body of the other. That way we don't actually have to hire a real plus size model. It almost reminds me of these digital influencers. Did you hear about this beautiful Black influencer that is a digital rendition that is making millions of dollars a year on influencer advertising, but she's not actually a real Black woman. She's made by a cisgendered white man. Again, a work of art, absolutely. But why don't we just pay a real Black female model instead of this digital girl that's really a computer guy?
My suggestion is just use real plus-size women, because there are so many gorgeous plus-size women out there. And I have one more wish. Can a plus-size brand please for once not make something that's horrifically ugly?
She, the model, just said it. Yes, even the clothing that is available for plus-size women isn't the same quality, the same design, the same things that we see for people who aren't plus-size. And looking at the average size of the average woman in America, and again, there's statistics on that, there's always going to be outliers, but when you look at that distribution, why are these designers, why are these fashion brands and companies not making things that support the bodies of the average women? If that's why they want to make their money, that's what they should be doing, right? And this almost takes me back to being in high school and having all the popular girls shop Abercrombie and Fitch and Hollister and even Brandy Melville. We didn't have hazing in my middle school or high school, but there was this popular girls club, and if you couldn't fit into a certain size of the Abercrombie stuff, they wouldn't let you sit with them. And obviously now as an adult, it's wow, not only is that hazing and exclusionary, but that is just breeding grounds for triggering an eating disorder to somebody who may be predisposed to it. But how how exclusionary, and even Brandy Melville, one size fits all or one size fits most? No, it doesn't. These brands are literally not creating plus size clothing because they don't want plus size people wearing them. And they've come out and said that. Look at Victoria's Secret saying that the fantasy isn't to have someone plus size. Excuse me, Tess Holliday is gorgeous. Loie Lane, there are so many gorgeous plus models, as this model just said. But again, this industry is fixated on curating this idealistic standard and controlling that narrative and trying to spoon feed it to us. And that's why, yes, plus size models can literally be skinnier than the average, not overweight, not plus size me or you. And when we peel back the layers on that, it is really revealing. It is really shocking. And it's because of social media that this is able to happen. Whereas in traditional media, when people would consume their media through the screens that are highly curated, or through magazines where everything is edited and typed up, people didn't have the ability to speak their mind as easily as we do with social media. And I think that's where a lot of the power of social media sits. But it also makes us look at this industry and say, why have we been okay with this? Why aren't we supporting real plus size women in plus size advertising? The reason that even plus size women can't feel confident in their bodies is because their necks don't look like that. Because as this plus size model just said, the standard isn't just difficult, it's literally impossible. Now, what wasn't gone into here was also the Photoshop, the lighting. You know how many lights I use on these videos? And this is just me, who used to be chilling on a floor and actually upgraded and now has herself a desk. But even on YouTube, where regular people are sharing their regular lives and regular thoughts, there's a lot that goes into what you see on the screen versus what actually happens behind the scenes. And honesty and transparency and exposing some of those things are my interests, my passions, and my core values. So for me, it's really important to speak about that. But there are some people in the industry who don't want that to be told. And again, back to my personal story, yes, I was a pregnancy model. It was only twice, but I was having these extreme gastrointestinal issues. And at first we thought it was celiac disease, but then it impacted my sleep and my wake patterns. It was very, very strange. And I was having a lot of stomach bloating, gas, pain. I had endoscopies, I had colonoscopies, I had all of the things because we thought there was something majorly wrong. And it ended up just being me having sensitivities to dairy and even to some sort of antibiotic or ingredient in meat. We still haven't figured it out totally, but when I did choose to eat a plant-based lifestyle, my stomach issues widely went away. But I would have this painful swelling and bloating and, yes, bleeding. But instead of seeing this for what it is, as a medical condition or as a shape of a body, the people that I was involved with, who were kind of controlling my career at the time, saw this as,
oh, Cassandra, you could be a plus size model. You could be a pregnancy model.
And I got cast for maternity photo shoots. I was not pregnant. Maternity photo shoot? Because they wanted, again, the thin face, the thin, collarbones. They wanted the thin arms, not the arms that are a little bit, heavier to protect the body of a pregnant lady and to literally allow her to carry her child when it's born. No. They wanted a certain arms. They just wanted the belly. And a lot of maternity photo shoots actually put a belly on. The difference is that for swimsuit, you can't just put a belly on. You actually have to have the belly. So I was cast for these maternity photo shoots because in a swimsuit, you could see that I had a belly, not knowing that there's not a child growing in there. And, everything else, looked this curated way that this brand wanted. It was so frustrating. It was so upsetting. And when I saw that happening, even though I was being advised by people who I thought had my best interest in mind, who really didn't, I was like, I don't feel comfortable with this. Like, hire a pregnant woman. And then why are we sitting here telling pregnant women that their bodies aren't good enough and that they're not allowed to gain weight in certain areas? Like, literally, a healthy pregnancy, one of the key components to that is gaining enough weight to carry mom and baby through that process. Holy shit! And when I started to see that and realize that, I was like, no. But when you think about it, whether it's a fat suit, whether it's a fake maternity baby belly like Lil Nas X, or whether it's literally someone who has a literal medical condition that is being exploited by the modeling industry to make it look like they're a maternity bikini model, The industry has ways to manipulate us, and it's really hard to see through it unless we talk about it and become aware of it. And that's why this model says that she posted this TikTok. She's like, I think it's consumers who have this power. If I just speak up about it, okay, they take me off their list, I'm no longer their model. But if consumers see it, and if consumers start demanding change, that's how we actually create change in an industry. That's how we actually understand body positivity or body neutrality. That's how we actually hire plus-size models for plus-size work. Which, by the way, did you know that in general plus-size models are paid less for plus-size modeling than regular models are? And did you know that male models on average are paid more than female models, and males across many industries are paid more than females, except for beauty, but even that is changing now? There's a lot, and I would love to speak with a social anthropologist to learn more, because I am not the expert when it comes to, the modeling industry, pay grades, equality, and those sorts of things. What do you think of plus-size models wearing fat suits? Look through your magazines. Have you ever looked through your magazines and seen some of the Photoshop fails? Maybe we could react to some of those together, but it is shocking, which is why I think it's important to share. Always remember to be beautiful inside and out. Love the skin and the body that you're in. And remember to never compare your reflection to someone else's retouch. I love you, beautiful butterflies, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.